The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Of course, always go to stewart.com/radio. That's where you can see the guests as we make a YouTube video of each and every show. You can see it at stewart.com/radio. We're so glad you joined us today. We have a tremendous variety of content for you today. We're going to talk money and talk to two real estate professionals in different parts of Houston, so it's going to be super fun. Thank you for joining us, and let's get down to business right now as we welcome Chris Yerington. He is the vice president. The company is called Truist. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.
Well, here you are. Thank you so much for being here. We really need a money infusion here today to talk about that. We need this content today. So let's tell people, first of all, a little bit about you and your background.
Sure. So my name is Chris Yerington. Live here actually in Montgomery and Wood Forest. So primarily born and raised in Dallas, Texas, but have been in Houston for about a year and a half. Did graduate from Texas A&M University and live here with my wife and my two children. So I've been in the mortgage business a little over 20 years, been on the broker side, been on the banking side, done a little bit of everything in the mortgage business. So well-versed in all things finance. So hopefully I can provide a couple of good information that you guys can use in purchasing a home.
Fascinating. And the company, a little bit about Truist.
Sure.
First of all, I think that's a great name, second only to Texas A&M.
That's
but
right.
Truist, let's tell people about the company.
Yeah, so Truist is relatively new. So in 2019, BB&T and SunTrust Bank merged, and that's when Truist was formed. So we are currently in 17 states, roughly 2,800 branches, primarily on the East Coast. But on the mortgage side, we do have a national charter. So we're able to originate loans all over the country except for Hawaii, Arizona, and Alaska.
Well, in the meantime, though, right here in Texas, you're really doing a tremendous job for people all day long.
That's right, and we've really focused primarily on the Houston market. We've got with the bank, we're able to offer several levels of service. So we're able to use the mortgage as part of your entire financial picture instead of just the mortgage.
As far as the geographic area in the Houston area, how you're serving this area, and certainly you're located, as you said, in the Montgomery area. But let's tell people geographically how you're helping people here in Houston.
We've got roughly 18 branches here in Houston and the surrounding cities, and we have 2 also in College Station. So my team, we cover all of Houston, all the surrounding cities, again, focused primarily on Houston and College Station, but again, able to go throughout Texas as well as the rest of the country.
And as far as the team goes, I guess each person on the team brings something different. And as the leader, one of the things you're doing is orchestrating how things work and how people are being served here in the area. Give us an idea of what's going on with the team. And
yeah, it's a great question. So we've got kind of a focus on we have 3 mortgage originators here right now, about to add another one. But we focus on doctor loans. We focus on construction loan is a big deal right now. And then we focus on our CRA, which is our community involvement lending. So we have somebody dedicated strictly to those folks that need a little bit of help in terms of down payment assistance and that sort of thing. So we have kind of a wide range. We have essentially over about 115 years of mortgage experience on the team. So we're well versed in all things finance. There's very few things that we haven't seen before and are able to accomplish.
I think one of the things, too, as far as serving people from the mortgage capacity, finding out what's the right loan for them. Well, certainly you mentioned doctor loans. First, give us an idea a little bit about that. What is a doctor loan?
So it's one of the things that kind of sets Truist apart is our doctor loan. So we have the ability to finance up to 100% with no mortgage insurance. So mortgage insurance obviously is a huge deterrent. If you don't have 20% down, you have mortgage insurance. We can get into that if we need to. But on the doctor loan, up to $1 million, you can do 100% financing. If you need to put 5% down, we can go up to $1.5 million, and at 10% down, you can go up to $2 million. Again, still no mortgage insurance. That's eligible if you have less than 15 years practicing, and it's also eligible for interns, residents, and fellows.
So as I was about to say, too, is that as far as there are so many loans available, I think that's one of the reasons, one of the great services you provide is that for the person, the couple, the family, they don't know all the loans, but right. I guess through a system of questions, you help them find and tailor the one right for you.
Yeah,
would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we like to do is we like to consider ourselves more of a mortgage consultant. Again, we're going to look at the mortgage as part of your entire financial picture, not just the mortgage in a vacuum. So we're going to look at your credit history. We're going to look at your financial situation, where you want to go. Is this your first time buying a house? Is this a second home? And then we can tailor those programs. With Truist, we have the ability to do the normal Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans that everybody else can do. But we also have a portfolio of products that we can use that are a little bit, off the books, so to speak, and a little bit different. So if we need to have a specific situation where somebody doesn't qualify for a Freddie or Fannie Mae guidelines, then we can put them in a different type of loan.
Chris, would this be a good time to buy a home, generally speaking?
We're in a weird time. Obviously, the past year and a half, 2 years has been a little bit of a challenge. I'm sure the realtors will tell you some of the interesting stories they've had with clients searching for homes. If you look back historically, since 1942, the average interest rate is 5.5%. So we're kind of right there, right at that same spot. So everybody I know is everybody wants a 2% interest rate. Okay, well, those are pretty much going to be gone. If you're buying a house, the key is just to, again, look at everything. You want to look at your mortgage payment, but you also want to look at your liabilities. You want to look at where you want to be in 10 years. And when you get into a house, you don't want to be what's called house poor. So you just need to make sure that you understand the entire picture before you start looking.
As far as all the things you could be doing, what is it about the mortgage world that keeps you in it for so long and that you love about it?
Yeah, it's helping people achieve the dream of home ownership. That's the biggest part of the American dream is buying a house, and we're able to help people do that. And there's never a time when you go to closing and somebody buys their first house and you see the just the love and the feeling of gratitude that they have for being able to buy that house, and then to see them raise their kids. We've got, the majority of our clients are, referrals, and so I've done families of homes for people, which is, it's incredible to have people keep coming back to us, and we're very fortunate to be able to help people when it's, obviously it's the biggest purchase they're ever going to make.
And we're speaking about people of all sorts, some that have purchased homes before. We might be on our seventh home or our second home. However, the first-time buyers, let's take a look at them. What are the considerations that you would say for someone that's just fresh and saying, man, I think I ought to buy a home before rates get too high, or we've just saved enough money, it's time to buy that home? What are those considerations? How would you advise the first-time buyer?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Bill. So what we typically tell people is, you'd like to start the process about 6 months out before you think you're going to be ready. And then when you do that, you can evaluate your credit history. You can evaluate your financial picture. You can develop a budget. So we encourage you to speak to an experienced loan officer. There's a lot of things about when you're buying a house that you don't think about. So everybody thinks about the mortgage payment. You can go online to any site and say, I want to do a $200,000 loan. This is a mortgage payment. But what they don't tell you is, your hazard insurance, and then your HOA fees, and then your taxes can increase every year. And there's all these little things that go into it. And then the amount of times that you're going to go to Target. If you're a first-time home buyer, the amount of times you go to Target the first week after buying a house is crazy. So it's all those little things that add up. And so you need to have a budget, and then you need to feel like you are comfortable knowing that those property taxes, especially here in Texas, are going to increase. So your payment is going to increase. But you need to have a set budget that you feel comfortable with. And generally, we'd like to see people, within 20 to 30% of their gross monthly income is a pretty good starting point for people buying their first house.
And let's say someone is ready to buy a home again after maybe 7 years in the existing home they're at, or maybe they're just getting to Houston for the very first time and they say, hey, it's pretty humid here. But also they're looking for that loan. What are you saying to people that have not purchased for a while and all the changes that have taken place, because they've been, I suppose, living in the scope of all the craziness over years and the low interest rate and now a normalized interest rate? How do you advise that person that hasn't purchased for a while?
Again, it's everything is individual. So, if somebody hasn't purchased a home in a long time, they don't know that a 2% rate was great. They don't know that an 8% rate is horrible. It's all dependent. If you're having to buy a house, then 5% is 5%. I mean, it doesn't. That's not going to dissuade you from buying a house if that's what you need to get into. So if you're moving here, there's a lot of great things about Houston. Obviously, the interest rate, and that's where you need to be. You need to be with an experienced loan officer, and especially now in this market, you need to be with an experienced realtor, because the market has changed so much with the offers being made and with the homes that are being available. You need to have a good team with you. That's the biggest thing, is to make sure that you are comfortable with the team that you have around you that's going to look out for your best interest.
As far as the activity right now, how do you see activity from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being on fire?
Yeah, it's a weird activity. So where we're seeing the inventory being super low is homes within the $300,000 to $500,000 mark. That's a tough place to find. Where you can find great deals, and again, this is where it helps to have a really good realtor, is that new construction, the builders are working as hard as they can to come up with the difference. We've had a low inventory for a long time. We're starting to see that inventory kind of come back a little bit. But the best deals you can find on new construction homes right now, the challenge is people want to sell their house, but then they know they have to go find another house. So you make a lot of money on your house, but you're going to spend a lot of money to try to find another one. So if you can find new construction, the way the builders work, they're financing. They need to sell their houses a little bit quicker than the normal person. So you can find some really good deals on new construction.
Some incentives,
right now.
maybe.
Absolutely.
We're talking with Chris Yerington with Truist Mortgage. Chris, if you were to speculate on interest rates between now and the end of the year, they staying steady, or what do you think?
I'd be in a different line of business. Yeah, total guess. Obviously, you're not going to hold me to it.
Of course.
But I think they're going to stay pretty normal right now. They're not going to adjust too much. I think the midterms are going to play a little effect on that. So we'll see kind of what happens in November. But the Fed, everybody panics when they see the Fed's coming out with a rate hike. People need to understand that doesn't really have an effect on mortgage rates. So when you see all that is already captured in mortgage rates pretty much for the rest of the year.
One quick word before we tell people your contact information. As far as the people you're serving, you and the team, how many are from out of the state from a percentage standpoint? Let's take the last 10 or last 20. How many people are from out of state? Just curious.
It's not as big as I don't think it's as big as people think. We're seeing probably out of that percentage, I think 15% are from out of state moving. A lot of people are adjusting with their jobs, working from home, so now they need more space, so they're moving just to accommodate those needs more than coming from out of state.
And Chris, let's tell people how they can reach you.
Sure. So the best way to catch me is email, which is chris.yarrington@truist.com, or you can reach me on my cell phone, 214-668-9564.
The number again is
214-668-9564.
There he is, Chris Yerington. Thanks for being on the
Bill,
show,
thank
Chris.
you very much.
As we continue, let's talk to Sharon Yeary. She's the broker owner. The company is called Sharecom Realty. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Woo-hoo. I am so excited to be here. I feel like I'm talking to a real estate superstar.
Well, I'm just a regular old radio host that works for Stewart Title, but thank you so much. I'll take that as a compliment. As we continue, Sharon, real estate, first of all, it's fascinating and easy to be pumped up about real estate. It's fun, even if you're not in the profession.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I got into the business 23 years ago. I worked for American Airlines. I was an instructor for American Airlines in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I worked in their IT department teaching customer service, teaching how to work the computers and so forth. And I needed a hobby. So my hobby was getting into real estate. So to me, that's an amazing, it was an amazing career to get into. Now I do nothing but real estate full time, and it's so much fun.
So from the airlines to the real estate profession, you flew right into that, eh?
That's a good choice of words.
Yeah. As far as real estate goes, and you've went from a real estate agent to now you're a broker owner. How many years have you been a broker?
I have been a broker. I got my license in 1999 as a real estate agent. 2001, I took my broker's exam and passed. And so it's been 21 years I've been a broker.
What made you take the jump from real estate agent to broker? Just curious.
I worked for the big box companies, Keller Williams, RE/MAX. Loved them. They were a great place to learn and to grow as a real estate agent. Getting my broker's license, I wanted to help agents be able to put more money in their pockets, but also be able to offer their clients more advantages to using them. For example, because I'm not paying a franchise fee and I don't charge monthly fees to my agents, they're able to spend more money on their clients as far as marketing, showing their homes, doing whatever, because they do have more money to spend for advertising and marketing.
And let's tell people geographically where your office is located, because to me, Houston has many centers of its universe, but where you're at, let's tell people where you're at. It's a big area.
It is a big area. I'm at Town and Country. I'm in the Regis building. I have a small office in the Regis building across from that green area, a bunch of restaurants around. It's an amazing place to be. I also work out of my home a lot, which is in Katy.
So from that perspective, you can work the Katy market. You could work Memorial. You could work anywhere, really anywhere in Houston, because you can get around so easy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've gone as far as Cleveland, but I'd love to stay around the Katy, Memorial, Fulshire, Sugarland areas.
So you get out to Fulshire much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it a lot.
So how are things in Fulshire? And for those, again, outside of Houston, Fulshire's kind of sort of way further west, certainly from Houston, and then further west from a place called Katy, which is directly west of Houston. So let's talk about Fulshire and then bring ourselves in.
Fulshire is doing amazingly well. They have a gated community out there called Weston Lakes. People love it, mainly because it is gated, and you have to register to drive in the neighborhood. And it's beautiful. It's kept up. People love it. You can drive around with your golf carts. You can get some very expensive homes in Fulshire and Weston Lakes, but you can also get some around $350,000.
So let's take that price point, $350,000. I'm going to jump. Are there any left? Even in, can we get a home in Katy for $350,000? Let's say that first of all.
Yes, I believe you can, because the average home price in Katy is $395,000. Okay. The median home price is $403,000 for Katy, and that's an increase of 22.4% over last year. Now, whereas Houston only had a 21.3% increase over last year, Katy is doing very well. People love it, and in fact, a couple of years ago, it was one of the best places to live in the United States. Whereas the Woodlands last year was named the best place to live in the United States.
The school district, people always talk about the K, and here we are going back to school season, but is that, how big a role is the
It's a very big role. Katy schools are amazing. They're some of the top rated in the state.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, as I live very close to Katy, not in Katy, but I like the proximity to be able to get all around the city. And even if I want to go to the Woodlands, that Grand Parkway is tremendous.
Oh, it is.
It's Sugarland, Woodlands, whatever.
And the thing about Katy is, I moved there 3.5 years ago to be with my grandkids. They're 4 and 6. In fact, we moved right next door to them, which has its pluses and minuses.
Like right next door?
Yes, right next door. We have a gate in the backyard. I moved here. I did not know a soul. My business was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I was very good with my business in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So it took me a while to build the business, but when I moved to Katy, I found there's three streets that have everything I need: Fry, West Green, and Mason. They have all the stores, all the restaurants, Home Depot, Lowe's, Whataburger, whatever. They're all right there on the 3 streets. And they have bike trails, parks. The schools are amazing, like I said.
Well, you and I must be passing each other all the time because I'm all over those streets that you mentioned and more in that area. As you said, good restaurants, too, out there.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're serving people, let's take a buyer and someone that – are you seeing people that are coming from out of the state that are coming and ending up in Katy?
I'm seeing a few, about 10% coming from Los Angeles and New York.
So then where else are people when they move? Let's take Katy again as an example. When they move to Katy, other than out of state, where are they coming from? Other parts of the city or how do they get to Katy?
Other parts of the city, Dallas-Fort Worth area, they're moving here. Because the reason some of them are moving to the moving to the Katy area is because in Dallas-Fort Worth, the home prices are a little bit higher than what they are in Katy for what you can get. You can get a beautiful home in Katy for about $100,000 less than you could in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
What are what are the property taxes like in Dallas as they compare to Houston? About the same or?
They're about the same, but when I was looking, I was always looking for property taxes under 3%. And some of the newer home areas are a little bit over 3%, 3.1, 3.3% of the taxes, of the tax rate.
And you're talking about right here?
Right here.
In this area?
Uh-huh. Dallas-Fort Worth, it's about the same.
So, yeah. Now, certain areas, when you go further out, sometimes it's a little bit less, too, we're finding.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. How are you advising sellers? Let's say again, we'll take Katy as the example. Someone's in Katy and maybe their home's in the $450,000. Would that be a good example? $450,000 range as you assess it or you do the market analysis. So you're telling that seller at the $450,000 point, how are you advising that person? Is it going to be on the market long? And let's say it's in nice shape, or what's the market like?
The average days on market for Katy is 7.
7?
7 days. We're in the Houston area.
Even right now?
Right now.
Okay.
Houston area, it's 29. It's down one day in Houston. But the average home increase in Katy this past year was 22.4%. They're still going up. It's a 1.6 inventory right now, which means it's still a seller's market. It's amazing. Until it gets to 6 month market days on
still
market.
Pretty good, yeah.
It's average between buyer and seller's market, but anything over 6, it's going to be a buyer's market. We're a long way from that. It's still a great seller's market. It's a great time to sell. In fact, we're coming up December, January are my second busiest times during the year because kids are out of school, out of college. People want their kids to get in new schools.
Well, as you mentioned that, personally, my favorite time to buy is October, November, and December. The weather's cooler and so many other reasons.
There's less competition also.
There you go. We're on to something. Don't tell anybody, right? You're thinking,
I won't.
Is anyone listening?
Are you out there?
They're out there, and they're listening, taking notes. We know about that all the time. So in the meantime, I think that's a great thing. So point is, if you're in Katy and you're going to sell your home, you better know where you're going. You better have a place if you're going to sell it in 7 days or even 2 weeks.
Absolutely. But none of my sellers have gone homeless. I promise you that.
That's a good thing. You're taking care of them.
I'm taking great care of them.
Which makes me ask the question, how are you advising the buyers right now? So I'm in Katy, or let's say I want to buy a home somewhere else in the area you serve. How are you advising the buyers?
I'm advising the buyers to offer as much as they can, like paying the title insurance, paying the home warranty for them, which I usually pay the home warranty. Yeah. I pay for that for my clients.
As a realtor, you pay?
As a realtor, I pay for that for my clients because I want to make sure they're covered.
That's a nice little gift, too.
It is. It is. I mean, it could be $400 to $700, for that year's home warranty.
Indeed. Well, Sharon Yeary, she is with Sharecom, broker owner, doing fantastic work out there on the west side of town. Before we close the segment, what do you want people to know? What else do you want them to know?
I want people to know that I can meet their needs. I have the knowledge, the ability. I'm also a Texas real estate instructor, which I do teach real estate classes. But I want them to know that I am knowledgeable. I am qualified. We have 8 agents in the area here with Sharecom Realty. They're amazing. So if I'm not personally available, they are. But I always try to be available for all the clients that call me. We're just an amazing company, and we love to have fun with our clients. We want to take the stress away from them.
And there's a lot of stress to go around. Good thing you're there doing that, Sharon. And let's tell people how they can reach you.
I'm at Sharecom Realty, and my email is Sharon Yeary, Yeary, @gmail.com. My phone number is 832-388-9945.
Sounds like you said 832-388-9945. Sharon Yeary.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it was amazing. Thank you for having me.
As we continue the show, it's time to talk to Kirsten Gow. Her company is the Realty One Group in the Conroe, Magnolia area. Kirsten, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's awesome to see you. And as far as real estate goes, I mean, you know and I know and everybody almost knows is that we are expanding in every single direction here in Houston, Texas. But certainly the Montgomery County and Conroe area is really on fire.
Yes, that's correct. It is a very weird market, so to speak. It's been very crazy, but things are slowing down just a little bit.
First of all, your office, is it in Montgomery or Conroe?
Conroe, but it's in Montgomery County.
So that part of the city is, and I know certainly on the weekends when I happen to be in that area, there's tons of traffic. People are coming and going from all the things that are going on up there.
That's correct. There is a lot to do in our area. We have lakes. We have the Woodlands Pavilion. So there's music, outdoor music, which everybody's getting back into after COVID. So
yeah, as a matter of fact, I heard someone was just at a concert, I think the Rod Stewart concert, not that long ago. So yes, so many great things. Tell us about the new construction up there. I've heard that there's a lot of new construction even north of the Conroe area, as well as Conroe. You see any new construction?
Yes, there is a lot of new construction. In fact, over there by Magnolia High School, there's going to be a new H-E-B, several other businesses. So it's booming out there.
And as far as real estate goes, you could have been in a lot of different professions. Let's tell people what you did prior to real estate and what attracted you to the real estate world.
Well, I graduated from Southwest Texas back when it was Southwest Texas, and I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in elementary education. So I have been teaching, and I decided once my children got older, a little bit older and more independent, that I wanted to do something for myself. So I ventured out in real estate.
Real estate is where you're at now. What is it that you love about real estate here? And you've been a realtor now, I think, about 2+ years or so. But what is it that you're enjoying about it for the most part?
What I enjoy most about being a realtor is really just meeting new people and helping them find their dream home, or if they're in a transition in life, empty nesters, helping them just find a place that they're happy. And
well, given how the market was just maybe 6 months ago, I would think it was harder then, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was harder to find that buyer when they came to you and they said, Kirsten, hey, we need a new home or whatever. But assuming that it was a little bit harder about 6 months ago or so, what's it like right now for the buyer in your area? And let's just take the Conroe market, for example.
Is correct. I mean, it's a weird market, and the average home price, that market is very hard to find homes because of the inventory.
You mean like in the 350 range?
Yes.
So it's hard to find that home because prices, I guess, are going up.
They're going up. Interest rates are going up a little bit, but that should not scare anybody, the interest rates.
I'm not scared. So it's because I'm not buying a home either. But just saying, now let's take the numbers for a minute. Let's say someone and they're looking for a home, Kirsten, and they're looking for the home, let's say in Conroe, and they have $550 to spend. Okay, are we going to be able to find anything for $550?
I think so. Yes.
will there be a big selection, or what would we be looking at? New construction or previously owned home?
I think there's a variety. There'd be a variety. There's some previously owned, and but new construction would probably be a better option.
So then the $550 or $550,000 price point would be something that we can work with.
Yes.
So in your world, are you also covering the Woodlands area too? Do you get that?
Yes.
That would be considered south of Conroe, right?
Yes.
So for those listening outside of Houston on the internet or something, first of all, the Woodlands is north, but where you serve primarily, Conroe, that's also pretty much direct north of Houston, Texas. Would you say that?
Yes, that's correct.
So as far as what you see based in that northern region, as far as the next couple months, which pretty much is the end of the year, what's your feeling that how the market's going to play out? Are you going to be busy, you think, in November, or what's it feeling like right now?
I think it's going to pick up.
And let's tell people your company, about how many agents is at your company, Realty One?
There's, I believe, there's about 140.
And are they all in that northern region, or are they spread out throughout the city?
They're spread out throughout the city.
What would you say someone comes up to you, I want to buy a home, and I've got the $350,000. It might be a little tougher to find that price point, but do you think it's doable?
I do. I think it's doable. There's, other avenues that you can take with that, like I mentioned earlier, with, new builds.
And they, as we said before, they may have some incentives. Some of the builders I'm
do.
hearing are offering that. I don't know.
They do. They offer new buyer, first-time buyer incentives, just incentives in general. And they're also offering realtors.
Some incentives, right?
Some incentives to...
How, on the new construction, is there inventory to be had? Are you seeing that some of them have inventory, actual homes that are ready now, or even maybe a month from now?
Yes. Yes, there are.
So that's happening. What would you say for a $400,000 home right now in Conroe? Will it take 2 weeks, a month to sell? Nice home, great condition. What would you estimate?
It's taking a little bit longer because, school is back in session. So
that too, right.
People are kind of getting acclimated being back in school. But I would say roughly 30 days, maybe less.
Well, that's not bad. That's kind of like a normal market, it seems to me. So, Kirsten, before we close the segment, what else do you want people to know?
I would love to meet you. Come see me. My contact information is Kirsten 214@comcast.net. That's my email.
And the phone number is?
281-414-8418. 281-414-8418.
Kirsten, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
I say it very often on this show. Stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer, and we have one right here. Her name is Hope Moy, doing tremendous work in the northern part of Houston. Hope, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. So good to be here today.
And it's been a while since we've had you here, but also when I say the north part of Houston, we have offices all over serving people in the United States, but certainly in the Houston area. Let's tell people about the offices you serve.
So I am in Montgomery County, and I have 2 offices in Magnolia and Conroe, Texas. Magnolia is right off of 1488, a little north of the Woodlands, and in Conroe off of 336 and 105.
Super growing areas. I mean, to say that's an understatement, isn't it?
It is an understatement. It's growing. The roads are growing. Every time I go down 1488, I think they're adding another lane. So, which means more people, more houses, more all the things.
And at Stewart Title, as far as our business levels in your 2 offices, what's it like right now as far as the marketplace? Busy, medium, kind of more medium right now than a couple months ago?
Yeah, I think it's definitely calmed down just a little bit. With school starting, it always happens around this time of the year. I think a lot of the agents, a lot of the parents, everybody's trying to get into their new schedule, get children situated. So I think that's where a lot of the focus is right now, but it's still a great market and we're still rocking and rolling.
And let's tell people your escrow officers. Let's name a few of the escrow officers. Sometimes they are the unsung heroes of not just Stewart Title, but other companies. But at Stewart Title, we offer so much. And in addition to super business development people like you, our escrow officers are top notch.
Absolutely. So I have 3 escrow officers in my Magnolia office and 3 in my Conroe office.
Sounds like 6.
It is 6.
Who are they? Do you know that? Can you say all 6 names? Look, that's a contest. Let's see.
Absolutely. So my branch manager in Magnolia is Kelly Ernst, and we also have Courtney Minga and Robin Mays in Magnolia. I have Michelle Taylor in my Conroe office. She is our branch manager, with Kristen Healy and Marla Wells. And if you add them all together, I would say 200 plus years experience in the business.
That's amazing. Well, and why I say stay close to your Stewart Title business development officers, because you do things, you and our team do things that others can't do in the title world, but also you have educational events that come up where people can reach out to you at your offices, and sometimes continuing education classes, right?
Absolutely. It's, the greatest part of my job is helping the real estate agent, helping the lender, adding
Helping
value.
them grow their business.
Grow your business, adding value to what they do every day for their clients, and that's my job. That's what I love about it.
And let's tell people once again, your 2 offices are
Magnolia and Conroe in Montgomery County.
And someone right out there, I know they want to close their transactions with you. How can they reach you?
My number is 346-224-1908, and you can also email me at hope.moye, M-O-Y-E, @stewart.com.
And the phone number again is?
346-224-1908.
Thank you, Hope, and good to see you.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks, as I said last week. From Alvin, Texas, from Texas A&M to AM 950 KPRC, John Bramlett, Stewart Insurance.
Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bramlett. And I said that introduction like I did last week for Chris's benefit, because he is an Aggie in the house right now. So
Absolutely. As I said last week, I'm going to hire you as my hype man, and I might get Chris to join me in on that investment.
It would be my privilege to be a part of that excitement. So, John, here we are. Once again, people wait every week. They count the days. Insurance time is here once again. What do you want people to know today?
Well, I thought we would continue our discussion around errors and omissions. Last week, we visited a bit about the errors and omissions plan. We talked about what it is and some of the preventive measures that you can do as a real estate business to coincide with offsetting the risk with insurance. But I wanted to continue some of that discussion.
Well, let's go and let's take it to that next level.
So I'd like to talk a little bit today about what it covers, as well as the types of claims that you might see against an errors and omissions plan. A couple of key things to keep in mind. One we covered last week is that not every plan is the same. And so depending upon who the insurance company is and your specific needs, each plan could be different. And the second point is to make sure that you're working with an advisor that understands real estate, that understands your industry. So you're not just getting a cookie cutter plan, that they understand the types of questions to ask in the evaluation process, in the interview process, so that when a plan is presented to you, it's going to provide you the best coverage for your needs at that point.
And that's right. There are so many components to our lives. Having and being properly insured is so important. That's what you and the associates at Stewart Insurance do every day.
Absolutely. And the key to remember is that the plan itself, the errors and omissions plan, is designed to pay defense costs and some damages associated, with the wrongful act, an error, or an omission arising out of what you do for your clients in exchange for consideration. So basically, if somebody feels like that you did not do a proper job or you made a mistake while you were representing them and you got paid for that work, then there's the potential for a claim. And that's where that claim would come from.
Even though you may have done a proper job as far as to the letter of whatever the rules were, if someone feels you didn't, that could be trouble.
Absolutely can. And the other thing to keep in mind, and I know none of our listeners would do this, but even the most thoughtful, organized, and disciplined real estate professional is going to make a mistake.
We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. Or there's an assumed mistake. And if that mistake takes place, or as you mentioned a second ago, there's an assumed mistake, then there's the potential for a claim.
So that's why we need to be properly insured and know that there are plans out there to help people.
Yeah, and that those primary benefits from the plan are going to be the defense costs, some reimbursements for unformed allegations. Those are really kind of the primary benefits, so that if there's not anything that's of an issue, but you still have the defense cost, you have some backup there. If there is a mistake, if there are some issues, then there's probably going to be some additional defense costs, and there's potentially some damages that would occur. And then be able to have some support to cover that without having to do it all yourself is, the primary benefit of an errors and omissions plan.
I like the words. I think it's common sense, but the words errors and omissions, that just goes to show that we sometimes omit things, and that can be a problem. Because first of all, someone may say, well, I didn't do that. Well, that's the problem. You didn't do it, or I did. So just the language of insurance and life is so fascinating.
Well, it really is. I mean, it's basically, if a claim is going to take place, there's going to be an allegation that you were negligent in the job you performed, or you failed to perform that job. So either you didn't do it or you didn't do it very well. So that's where the claim is going to come from.
What are some of the other things we should think about?
Well, I think it's important to know that there's going to be liability limits within a plan, and all that means is there's a set amount of coverage for each incident during the life of the policy, and then there's a set amount of coverage for the life of that plan. So, for example, I have quite a few clients that their liability limit would be $1 million per incident, and then $1 million aggregate for the year. So, if there's a claim, and let's say the defense costs and all end up costing $250,000 after your deductible, you would have $750,000 remaining in that policy during that policy time for any additional coverages. So that's important to keep in mind. It's not going to cover any illegal activities. So if you purposely are fraudulent, it's not going to provide any coverage. Now, if somebody's made that claim, there potentially could be some defense costs until it's proven that you were fraudulent, or you proven that you purposely made an error. Then you'll want to then that coverage would go away. And I guess the last thing that I'd like to cover today would be, what are some of the claims that we more often see, against an E&O plan. So if you fail to disclose information, you didn't tell me that building was going to be built. I told you I'm buying this house because it's really quiet neighborhood, and I knew as a real estate professional that they were building a Lowe's right next door. That's going to change the ambiance of the neighborhood considerably. So, failure to disclose information. If you commingle or mishandle money, that's obviously going to be an issue that could cause a claim. If one of your clients feel like you discriminated against them, that can cause a claim. They feel like there's a conflict of interest, so you're representing the other party as well, and that party was a family member, or it was your property, and you didn't disclose that. That could be seen as a misrepresentation or a conflict of interest. Misrepresentation, you didn't do a good job, or just simply negligence, you didn't deliver your professional services. Those are the types of areas that we see claims on an errors and omissions plan. As
you mention all those things, I'm thinking, John, we have to always be on our toes, number one, especially in our professional life, especially if we're real estate professionals, or we're in the mortgage profession, or we're home, whatever it is, or in the title. There's so many details that go with every real estate transaction, residential or commercial. So we must be on our toes. And, of course, that is good advice for all the other categories in our life, because this is a moving thing all the time, this life thing. Things are changing, new laws as far as that goes. So you just got to always be on our toes. But the insurance component to life is there for us to help us when things go off the track. Or if again, as your example, someone feels they were done wrong, okay, here's the insurance.
And as the late, great Jim Rohn always said, casualness causes casualties. So that we don't need to be sloppy in how we handle our business. But there are going to be times when we make mistakes.
Right.
And there are going to be times when somebody feels like we've done them wrong. And the question always comes back to the definition, at least in our world, of properly insured. Are you comfortable with the coverage that you have? Are you comfortable being self-insured so you can cover any issues that might occur? Or would you like to offset some of those issues with the proper insurance plan, whether it be an errors and omissions for your real estate business, whether it be a general liability plan for your real estate business, or a home plan or a flood plan for your home?
Well, and also the other component that comes to mind is the factor of communication. When we communicate, whether we're doing in our professional world or personal, we're communicating verbally with our body language and the written word. And the written word is in the real estate as far as the transaction goes. There's our contract and things like that. There's the written word. The insurance policy, there's the written word, what's said and what's right there. So communication is so important. We have to be extra careful when we're speaking and when we're listening and what we bring forth. So communication, having the insurance plan, but also learning to fine-tune our communication skills, I think would.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it goes into having an insurance advisor that understands the category, that understands the real estate world. I mean, we strive to be the insurance resource for real estate because every plan's intent is different. And, we have partners that we work with in creating and building these errors and omissions plans for the real estate businesses, they've got departments that's their sole focus is for real estate brokers or for property management firms or for independent title and attorney agents. So we work with those folks. So combine their expertise with ours, we truly can build the best plan for our clients at this point in their lives.
And of course, Stewart Insurance, you're part of Stewart Title. You're in the real estate world all the time, as we are at Stewart Title. So it's a natural thing to help people, real estate professionals, and anybody else.
Absolutely. So we, as you talk about all the time, we live it 24/7. Well, if they do want to be properly insured, that you're comfortable with the amount of coverage that you have versus the amount of risk that you're taking yourself, whether it be the most robust plan or a very conservative plan, we'd like to be able to help you out. And you can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com or learn more about us at our website, stewartinsurance.com.
And, of course, at stewartinsurance.com is a super representation of the menu. It's a website that's well done, easy to understand. And, of course, certainly people here at the time of broadcast hear us in Houston, Texas, but you're serving people, your company is serving people all over the United States.
Absolutely. We have clients all over the U.S. and always looking forward to helping folks across the country to be properly insured.
The phone number again, John, is
866-798-2827.
There he is, John Brownlee. Thanks, John.
I appreciate it, Bill.
And as we conclude the show, he's back. Chris Yerington with Truist Mortgage. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
As we conclude, what else do you want people to know? Once again, money is so important. The mortgage world, especially right now, is very important for people. It's the starting point in most cases of buying a home. What should people know?
Yeah, the most important thing is just to make sure that you know what your buying capabilities are before you start looking at houses. Whenever you go start looking, people get the bug and get excited. You want to make sure that you can afford the house that you're looking at. You want to make sure you don't become what we call house poor and that you've got your budget set and your credit is ready to go.
And when you say that, affording it, I would think affording it at the time of purchase, but also having some kind of vision to make sure we could afford it 6 months down the road. Sometimes I think people get into trouble where, I could get into that house, but then all of a sudden when taxes go up, maybe the insurance goes up a little bit, you got to have a cushion in there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and you have to, and that's one of the things that, we look at, again, your entire financial picture, because we want to make sure that, one, you've got the reserves. If something were to happen and you lose your job, we want you to be able to maintain that house and be able to stay in it if something were to happen to you. So we're always going to look at that and just make sure that we're setting you up, not just for success when you buy the house, but for a couple of years down the road so that you're in a good spot for you and your family.
And I'm sure a lot of people, when they do business with you, they come back for that next home. Or maybe they might even buy a second home up there on the lake where you got all kinds of activities up there in the north, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's what we, again, not just, we don't have the capabilities just to help you with the mortgage, but, one of the benefits of being with Truist and being with the bank is that we're able to help you with your deposits and, with your estate planning if you're that far down the road or any of your retirement stuff. We've got the ability to help with everything, not just with your mortgage. You got to call me if you need help. We're ready to help you and make sure that you're ready to buy.
Chris Yerington with Truist Mortgage. What's the phone number, Chris?
214-668-9564. 214-668-9564.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Bill.
She's back, Kirsten Gal with Realty One. Kirsten, here we are at the end of the show. We're so glad you made the big drive all the way from Conroe, Montgomery County, all that. By the way, how was the traffic coming down here?
It wasn't bad at all.
So
actually.
not bad.
Not bad.
I'll tell you, on the weekends when I make a trip up there every now and then, as I do, there's tons of cars on that road, especially on the Sunday afternoon.
Yes, very busy.
Unbelievable. Now, what town do you actually live in? Are you in the Conroe area?
I'm in Magnolia.
Magnolia. So the nice thing, you got Magnolia, Conroe, Montgomery. It's kind of a triangle-ish.
Woodlands.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You enjoy it out there?
I do. We love it out there. We've been there 22 years.
22 years. So from 22 years ago to today, wow. Do you have pictures of the development? I bet
Yes.
that's fascinating.
It is fascinating. When we first moved out there was 1488 was 2 lanes. There was no development out there. Lake Windcrest was one of the newer subdivisions just getting started.
Unbelievable. What was it prompted you to go out there 22 years ago? Just curious.
Well, my husband is a builder, and he was working in the Woodlands area, and he'd been kind of scoping out the area and thought that would be a great place to start a family, raise a family. We've loved watching all of the growth and development.
So there you are. Sounds like it worked out really well.
It did.
And you are with Realty One, Kirsten Gal. If someone wants to reach out to you to learn more about the area, sounds like you're an expert up there. How can they reach you? What's the phone number?
281-414-8418. 281-414-8418.
Kirsten Gal, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, here she is, Sharon Yuri. Sharon, her company is called Sharecom. She's back, Sharon, as we wind things down, wind them up. I don't know how you want to look at it, but we're closing the show right now. What else do you want people to know?
I have a YouTube channel with over 100 videos that might answer some of your questions. Just go to YouTube and put in Sharecom Realty. And remember, you will be sold on us.
Well, we want to tell people how to spell Sharecom Realty, S-H-A-R, Com Realty, right?
Sharecom Realty, sharing communities.
You know what I'm going to do after the show?
What?
I'm going to go to your YouTube channel.
Good, good.
And let's tell people your phone number, Sharon.
Phone number is 832-388-9945. That's 832-388-9945.
Thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to have a very quick word. She was on the show a couple weeks ago, Joyce Eisenberg. Joyce, before we close things down, let's say hi. What are your 2 offices? I know one is Fulshire and Katy,
and
right?
Katy, yes.
So things are going okay up there?
Things
Out
are
there?
going great, yes.
Actually, they're both directly west. Pretty
Well,
much.
you know, Fulshire's like South Katy.
Okay, so there it is like that.
So there's like Katy, Fulshire.
Easy on, easy off I-10.
Easy on, easy off I-10. And like she said, 7 days on the market in Katy. That's nice.
So that's unbelievable. And you know what happens if you don't get off of I-10?
You wind up in Sealy.
You're going to wind up in Laguna Beach. Joyce Eisenberg, let's tell people how they can reach you and your 2 branches.
Okay, you can find me in Katy and Fulshire, and my phone number is 832-389-4306.
And you can find me in Laguna Beach. Your number again is?
832-389-4306.
And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Larry Warren, who just moved to Fulshire, I believe, and Justin Ramirez. We appreciate you listening. Just go to stewart.com/radio. That takes you to the YouTube channel at stewart.com/radio. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week.